Let's talk about John Lewis, a fighter for equality during the Civil Rights Movement.
On March 7, 1965, when he was only 25 years old, he led a group of 600 protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. They were marching peacefully for equal voting rights for black people when the police engaged them and left many bloody and wounded. Later, he served as a congressman from Georgia from 1987 to 2020. He was a champion for civil liberties throughout his life.
Do you know the story of Katherine Johnson?
She used her mathematics skills to help NASA send astronauts to the moon.
That's right. She and other black women broke racial barriers working as human computers, figuring out the difficult calculations needed for spaceflight.
She overcame racial and gender barriers that helped make giant leaps for humankind.
Black history stories must include Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who led efforts to uphold equal rights for people regardless of race, color, or creed.
He was a humble Baptist preacher from Atlanta, Georgia, who was arrested several times in his life.
In 1960, he joined college students at sit-ins and segregated lunch counters.
In 1963, he joined the Civil Rights March on Washington and delivered the I Have a Dream speech, making him one of the greatest speakers in U.S. history.
We celebrate him on MLK Day every third Monday in January.
Who stood up for African Americans by sitting down? It was Rosa Parks. On December 1st, 1955, she was riding a city bus in Montgomery, Alabama. The bus driver told Rosa to give up her seat for a white passenger, and she refused. The bus driver called the police, and she was arrested. Her arrest sparked a boycott of public transportation that didn't end until 1956, when a Supreme Court decision ended racial segregation on public transportation throughout the United States. What do you know about Harriet Tubman? Well, she's known for risking her life as a conductor in the Underground Railroad, helping escape slaves to freedom in the North. Yes, but did you know that she also served as a spy for the Union during the Civil War? She helped Colonel James Montgomery plan a raid to free slaves from plantations in South Carolina. Really? I didn't know that, and now I do.
Do you know how much Booker T. Washington loved school? He went to school in the 1800s, when most black children weren't educated.
Didn't he open a school in Alabama to teach newly free African Americans?
Yes, his school taught generations of skilled workers, and it still exists today, known as the Tuskegee University.
Wow, he was a real pioneer in black education.
Yes, he was.
Which black woman said, "The air is the only place free from prejudice"? It was Betsy Coleman, the first African American woman to obtain an international pilot's license. After every flight school in the U.S. rejected her because she was black and a woman, she went to aviation school in France. After stuck flying through Europe, she returned to the United States in 1922 as an aerial acrobat. She used her fame to fight racism and segregation by refusing to fly in shows that separated black from white spectators. She was truly amazing.
When you think of George Washington Carver, what do you think of?
I don't know.
Peanuts. He was a scientist and inventor who found hundreds of uses for peanuts to make lotions, flour, soup, dyes, plastics, and gasoline.
What?
Yes. In 1894, he became the first black person to graduate from Iowa State University, and he earned a master's degree in agriculture. His advancements helped improve the lives of poor black farmers.
That's great to know. I had no idea. Thanks. Who was the first black woman to serve in the U.S. Congress? It was Shirley Chisholm who first won a seat in the New York State Legislature in 1964, representing her Brooklyn neighborhood. That's right, and just 4 years later, she was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. She fought for equal rights for women, minorities, migrants, and the poor. She helped open up opportunities for people like Barack Obama and Senator Elizabeth Warren. She was an inspiration for others.
Did you know that Thurgood Marshall was the first black Supreme Court justice? After law school, he fought for equality for African Americans. His best-known case was Brown versus the Board of Education, which challenged school segregation. Marshall argued in front of the Supreme Court that separate was not equal. The justices agreed, and in 1954, school segregation was abolished. In 1967, President Lyndon B. Johnson appointed him the first black justice to serve on the Supreme Court.
Let me tell you about my favorite author, Maya Angelou. She is a poet, singer, writer, and civil rights activist with a troubling past that she highlighted in her famous autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. She is credited with a list of autobiographies, poetry books, plays, movies, and television shows spanning over 50 years. Her work is highly praised as a defense and ultimate celebration of black culture.
Let me tell you the story of a brave little girl named Ruby Bridges. At age 6, she embarked on a historic walk to school as the first black student to attend an all-white elementary school in Louisiana after desegregation.
Really? Wow!
She ate lunch alone and sometimes had no one to play with but her teachers at recess.
Aw, that's sad.
But she was tough, and she never missed a day of school that year.
I'm glad she did. She made it easier for others to do the same. That's cool.
You can't tell the history of baseball without mentioning Jackie Robinson.
Absolutely. He was the first black baseball player to play in Major League Baseball.
He broke the baseball color line when he started at first base for the Brooklyn Dodgers on April 15, 1947.
When he joined the Dodgers, it signaled the end of racial segregation that had relegated black players to the Negro League since 1880.
Jackie Robinson was introduced into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1962.
Yay! Hey, Gianna, you're my favorite princess. I love The Princess and the Frog. Oh, thank you. I'm not just the first black Disney princess. My character was based on Leah Chase, a Creole chef from New Orleans who represented the soul of America. Yeah, she fed presidents, famous singers, and civil rights fighters for over 70 years. I hope to be like her and inspire black girls to believe that dreams do come true if you work hard, leave a little room for magic, and keep your heart open for true love.